Oklahoma braces for more severe weather. We'll tell you when it might hit. Updates from the Gage Ford trial, hear who testified today, and why some Norman residents are upset about what's going on at the Norman Animal Shelter. This is OU Nightly. Hello, thanks for joining us for OU Nightly. I'm Adam Dickinson.
And I'm Kaleigh Tingelstad. We begin with the potential for storms rolling into Norman.
Brady Blackstock joins us to tell us what we can expect. Brady?
Adam, Kaleigh, we do have a severe weather risk coming in for tomorrow, and a lot of us got a preview of it this morning. This is from earlier today. Storms came through, big lightning strikes, loud thunder, and it's a preview of what we might expect tomorrow. Here's the severe weather map for tomorrow. Enhanced threat up north, and that is a chance for tornado and hail coming up in Maine weather. I'm going to break down the severe weather risk, break it down a timeline for Friday, tomorrow, when, where I expect these storms. And for anybody heading to Norman Music Festival, I got a forecast just for you. Back to you at the desk.
Thanks, Brady. It's day 3 of testimony in the Gage Ford trial. He's the former OU student accused of felony assault and battery against his then-girlfriend, Hallie Stevens. She is also an OU student. OU Nightly's Avery Gorman is live at the Cleveland County Courthouse with the latest. Avery?
Day 3 of testimony in the Gage Ford case is happening inside the Cleveland County Courthouse. In October of 2020, Ford was allegedly his then-girlfriend, Hallie Stevens, who was 10 to 12 weeks pregnant. The prosecution continued to argue their case today by bringing multiple people to the stand. Today we heard from Stevenson's gynecologist, a detective for Norman PD, a domestic violence expert, and another one of Ford's ex-girlfriends. Sutton Dimmoth testified that she experienced abuse from Ford multiple times during their relationship. Dimmoth was also pregnant during the assaults. We will continue to give you updates on the court case on OU Nightly's Facebook pages. Reporting live from the Cleveland County Courthouse, Avery Gorman, OU Nightly.
Thanks, Avery. Now we bring you the latest out of Ukraine. The Biden administration is asking Congress for a massive $33 billion in funding to reinforce the Ukrainian military. As Russia's war in Ukraine enters its 9th week, this is by far the largest single funding proposal of the war. The aid package comes as Ukraine and Russia face off in a fight that will rely on high-tech weaponry.
We need this bill to support Ukraine in this fight for freedom, and our NATO allies, our EU partners, they're going to pay their fair share of the cost as well.
Biden also stated it's critical that this funding gets approved as quickly as possible.
Back here in Norman, several residents are upset about a situation at the animal shelter. The residents claim the shelter is short-staffed and unable to even process the volunteer applications to allow people to help out. OU Nightly's Shannon Ehrhardt is live at the animal shelter with the story. Shannon?
The Norman Animal Welfare Shelter is seeking homes for all of these dogs behind me. But with the lack of volunteers in the shelter at capacity, it's been a roller coaster to find homes for these dogs.
We're full because now that everybody's able to get out again, if they acquired an animal during the pandemic, that animal is either their human's not home anymore, so they're getting out, or maybe the person isn't able to spend as much time with them as they did before, and so they feel guilty and they're wanting to bring the animal to us.
Robertson said more animals are coming in than out, and with a small staff, they have to pick and choose what's at the top of their list.
When we are this busy, it is more difficult for my employees to be able to get the animals out of their cages.
But volunteers are hard to come by.
So far in 2022, on average, we've only had a total of 8 hours of volunteers walking dogs per week. That translates down to 2 minutes and 20 seconds of outside kennel time on average per dog each week. That's 10 minutes a month.
Robertson said they're always looking for volunteers, but there's another way to help out if volunteering becomes too much.
When you become a foster, that doesn't mean that you have to keep the animal at your house until it's adopted. You can foster a dog for one day just to get them out of the shelter. And that just helps our animals get out, get some socialization. And it also helps us to get a little bit more insight as to the dog's personality.
if you don't have time to volunteer or foster, you can donate actually on their website or Facebook page. Reporting live from the Norman Animal Welfare Shelter, Shannon Ehrhardt, OU Nightly.
Thanks, Shannon. Some Democrats have been lobbying for $50,000 debt reduction on student loans, but Kaleigh, it doesn't look like we're going to get that lucky. Jayden Brannon has that story and the rest of today's headlines from around the world.
Thanks, Adam. Former United States Marine Trevor Reed is back on American soil today after being held prisoner in Russia. Yesterday, it was announced that the U.S. and Russia would be conducting a prisoner exchange. Reed was sentenced by the Moscow court to 9 years in prison after endangering the life and health of Russian police. Reed's parents say they are relieved to have their son back, but say their biggest concern right now is his health. Russian convict Konstantin Yaroshenko, was also released from the U.S. and crossed back into Russian hands. And President Joe Biden addressed his 2020 campaign promise of relieving student loan debt earlier today. Although he wants to help with student loan forgiveness, he said it does not look like $50,000 per student will be the result.
I am not considering $50,000 debt reduction, but I'm in the process of taking a hard look at whether or not there will be additional debt forgiveness.
The president promised to pardon up to $10,000 per student and has received pressure from Democrats to keep that promise. And fast food giant McDonald's is taking a hit to the wallet, losing about $127 million. After temporarily shutting down operations at its stores in Russia and Ukraine, the company is still paying those employees. The salaries, leases, and other supplies total about $127 million. The leftover $100 million is the cost of food and other items that are having to be thrown away. Although McDonald's is seeing loss from those stores, the chain continues to see global growth this quarter. And diamonds are forever, and that's how long one might spend paying for this one. The world's largest blue diamond has come to auction and sold for over $57.5 million. Adam, Kaleigh, back to you.
Thanks, Jayden. On April 5th, voters elected Larry Heikkila over incumbent Brea Clark as the next mayor of Norman. OU Nightly's David Asche sat down with Mr. Heikkila to discuss the mayor-elect's first plans for his time in office.
Larry Heikkila, an outspoken conservative and 45-year resident of Norman, defied political odds when he ousted Brea Clark for mayor. Now, as he gets set to take office, he has a few ideas ready to go for when day one arrives.
We need a place for every one of us to feel comfortable inside our own city, and that's what I'm going to be working towards.
One of those ideas is public safety and more police officers.
There are things that we need to do to reinforce the police department, to get them enough people. They're down to 150 people. When the police funding started, they were at 180, which wasn't enough. I think they need to be at 210 personnel.
Another important area for Mr. Heikkila is civility between groups.
We have a large number of college graduates in this town. Obviously, being a college town, we should know how to communicate. We should know how to communicate civilly.
Here on campus, current Mayor Clark works with students in the Price College of Business. Now with the election, some students are hoping that Mr. Heikkila will work with them too.
I think that he should and hopefully will prioritize that relationship and continue maintaining a connection with the university.
Mayor-elect Heikkila acknowledges there will be some tough battles ahead, but he has a message for his constituents.
We're going to become a mature city. We're going to become what we define this city to be, not what Oklahoma City defines us to be.
Mayor-elect Heikkila will officially take over duties in July and will serve until the next election in 2025.
Certain cigarette flavours may be leaving the shelf.
Find out which straight ahead on OU Nightly.
And a new update on vaccines for children.
We'll tell you which vaccine filed for emergency use.
As the weather heats up, barbecue time begins, but Ashley van der Velde has what we need to do on a staple recall on barbecue food.
We begin with an update on a COVID vaccine for young children. Moderna filed emergency use authorization today from the FDA for its vaccine in children 6 months through 5 years of age. The company says clinical trials showed safe protection. Moderna says 2 doses of its vaccine are 51% effective at preventing symptoms in children up to 2 years old and 37% effective in kids up to age 6. Those numbers are similar to protection provided against Omicron in adults ages 18 to 25. Menthol cigarettes and flavored cigars may end up fading away like smoke. The FDA proposed a rule today that would ban menthol from being used in the production of cigarettes. Officials say this is a necessary step to protect public health. Nearly 19 million people smoke these cigarettes, and according to the FDA, taking menthol out could prevent 650,000 premature deaths over the next 4 decades. And be sure to take a peek in your freezer because the USDA announced a recall of over 120,000 pounds of ground beef products. The beef is thought to be contaminated with E. coli. Thomas Farms, Marketside Butcher, and Nature's Reserve carried the beef manufactured between February 1st and April 8th. If you have any of the beef, throw it out because E. coli can cause serious stomach problems. And it's time to stop taking a small dose of aspirin a day to prevent heart attacks or strokes. Doctors say there is little benefit and it could cause bleeding in your stomach or brain. Kaleigh and Adam, back to you.
Thanks, Ashley. One campus organization is spending the week putting smiles on students' faces. Find out when this group could make your day coming up.
And with the chances of severe weather, Brady, what should we expect tomorrow?
Tomorrow we do have a chance of severe weather, chance for tornadoes, potential for hail. Coming up after the break, I'll tell you when and where I expect to see those storms pop up. Welcome back to OU Nightly. My name is Brady Blackstock. We already had storms in the state today, but it's going to get a lot dicier tomorrow. Currently, we're at 78. Those southerly winds warming things up, coming in at about 18, and that dew point. It is very wet out there, and it is prime material for storms tomorrow. Currently, warm, winds out the south, higher than normal. What that means for the west, though, we do have severe storm weather over here. I'm going to get to that in just a second, but we do have a fire risk out west because of a dry line that is going to be moving through the state tomorrow. So here's what it is. The green is where it's very moist and wet, dry out to the west. Here's that fire danger I was telling you about. Friday, between 5 and 6, this is when I'm going to expect to see these storms pop up, and they're coming in fast with that cold front, pushing them on through, but then coming into Saturday, we should be in the clear. But Friday, we need to all be aware because this is the severe weather outlook for the state, enhanced up in the north, dips all the way down. Most of the state is covered. Tornado chances, again, strong up here, and the issue up here is that if a tornado does appear, it could be very intense. So we're going to be keeping our eye to the north for a tornado watch, but the hail, also a threat. That dips down in here into Norman as well. And if we do get hail, it could be all the way up to baseball size. So big lot to worry about. So let's break it down. This is for Friday. Here's when the storms we think are going to pop up between about 5 and 6. Along the I-35, you don't want to be caught out there in traffic when these storms roll through. And then moving over into Tulsa, here's one we are worried about. We've been watching this closely. It could vary where it's going to be located, but this is the one we might think could pop up with a severe tornado threat. And so this is the issue we have. These storms could happen. We have a cap currently, and if that cap breaks, that's why we could experience very strong tornadoes tomorrow. So let's look at the weekend. Conditional severe storms for tomorrow. Could get intense, could get hail, tornadoes. We're going to keep an eye out on Friday. Everybody stay weather aware, but then we are going to be cleared for Saturday. Moving out into the rest of the week, though, we are looking at chances for more storms throughout in the rest of the week, but the big issue is tomorrow. So stay weather aware, and I'll send it back over to you at the desk.
Today was day 4 of OU Sparks Random Acts of Kindness Week. The Campus Activities Council organisation wanted to reward students for a long semester of hard work with free snacks and treats.
A lot of times we get so caught up into what we're doing, and we never think about what other people might be going through. And so this is just a good way to put a smile on people's faces.
Tonight from 7:30 to 9, they are having a paint night at the Couch Storm Shelter as a relaxing study break. And it's NFL Draft Night tonight. The first player will come off the board soon after 7 p.m.
Hallie Moss is here to tell us if it could be a big night for any Sooners.
That's right, Kaleigh. 32 teams will be rolling the dice tonight in Vegas, so we'll have to wait and see. And it's a new era for Sooner football as Dylan Gabriel took the field for the first time on Saturday. Sports is next. I'm Hallie Moss, and welcome back to OU Nightly. We start sports tonight with a quarterback update from the spring game. Parker Abels is live outside the practice field and is here to give us an inside look at OU's newest QB. Parker?
Legendary Sooner quarterback Baker Mayfield had his big day on Saturday, getting his statue unveiled in Heisman Park. But he wasn't the only quarterback in the stadium with the spotlight on him. UCF transfer quarterback Dillon Gabriel had his opening day in Norman in front of a record crowd of over 75,000 and gave Sooner fans their first look into 2022. Gabriel went 19 of 28 passing with 250 yards, 1 touchdown, and an interception. His highlight of the day was a 33-yard pass to Marvin Mims for the first touchdown of the day. Coach Venables had nothing but good things to say about his new QB.
Gabriel I loved his command, such a selfless guy. The game's easy for him in so many ways. Good decision maker, quick decision maker, plays with great anticipation.
While Gabriel played for both the red and the white team in the game, that wasn't always the plan.
I think it was a plan on the fly and also a plan to, kind of figure out, however it worked. But, it was a different experience for me, but, something I'll definitely grow from. And at times I felt conflicted, going on one side, going to the other, whatever it was. But it was fun. It was a lot of fun. And just playing in front of Sooner Nation, man, is a blessing.
While Gabriel struggled a bit against the fierce Brent Venables defense, he's confident that once the season comes around, he'll be ready to go. Freshman quarterback Nick Evers got some reps as well, including redshirt sophomore Micah Bowens, who connected with Jayden Gibson for a 95-yard touchdown. Reporting from outside Owen Field, Parker Abels, OU Nightly.
And Sooner baseball returns home this weekend for a 3-game series against Kansas State, and they have some pretty exciting company to help them kick things off. At Friday's game, OU quarterback Dillon Gabriel will be throwing the first pitch, and on Saturday, it's the 2022 national champs, OU Gymnastics. And 12 former Sooners will be awaiting their fate tonight as the 2022 NFL Draft kicks off. The 3-day event is taking place in Las Vegas, and the Jacksonville Jaguars, for the second year in a row, have the first overall pick. The Jags look to draft a powerful defensive player to help their 2021 first overall pick, quarterback Trevor Lawrence. And the NBA playoffs are in full swing, and 3 teams are looking to clinch their second-round spot tonight. Tonight's games include the Suns facing off with the Pelicans, the Mavs facing Utah, and the 76ers taking on Toronto. If the Mavs win tonight, it will be their first series win since 2011. And of course, we can't forget about the OU softball squad and their practically perfect record. They head up to Lawrence this weekend to close out their regular season.
Thanks, and Hallie, a certain animal has become famous in Washington, D.C.
Find out about the eventual holiday bird straight ahead on OU Nightly.
I'm Harry Robinson at the OU Nightly Update Desk. We bring you some breaking news. Oklahoma lawmakers passed the 6-week abortion ban today. Known as the Oklahoma Heartbeat Act, the controversial law prohibits abortions where physicians can detect early cardiac activity in embryos or fetuses. The state Senate also passed an additional bill allowing private citizens to bring civil lawsuits against anyone performing abortions. This comes after Governor Kevin Stitt signed a controversial anti-abortion bill earlier this month. Kaleigh and Adam, back to you in the studio.
Thanks, Harry. And there's been some foul behavior terrorizing residents in Northeast Washington, D.C. A sign was put up in the area warning people about this angry bird.
A turkey focused on avenging Thanksgiving has been a pecking menace on a Riverwalk trail in the capital. Many residents have had horrible encounters with the turkey.
So I turned around to run, and he lunged again and pecked me on my butt.
Brady, can you give us one last update on the severe weather coming into this weekend?
Kaleigh, absolutely. We do have a severe weather risk tomorrow. Chance for tornadoes, chance for hail, and if they do develop, they could be very severe. So everybody needs to be paying attention. Tomorrow on Friday, the storms are going to start popping up around I-35 to the north part of the state between 5 and 6 and start moving east. And the good news, though, for people going to Norman Music Festival tonight and tomorrow, I don't believe the storms will affect you, but tomorrow on Friday, if you are driving down around 5 and 6, you might want to wait, delay, come a little bit later, and then you'll be in the clear. Rest of the week, got more storms on the way. Back to you.
Thank you for joining us for OU Nightly. This will be our last time on the desk. I've got a plane to catch back across the pond, so I better get going.
Make sure you tune in to OU Nightly tomorrow at 4:30 for the last show of the semester. Good night.